In any business, there are tasks that need to be completed at certain times and on certain days or dates. These include meetings, follow-up calls, payments, renewals, customer communications, newsletters, the list goes on and on. In Reminders, etc., we have built in the ability to create simple records of tasks to be completed, but you can also create more complex records with links to every person, organisation, portfolio, file and note associated with that task. To get you started, I'm about to show you the basics of creating tasks and how the information is presented on the dashboard and task tab. The more detailed options will be covered in a separate video so as not to overload you with detail you may not need at this stage. I'm going to create 3 tasks, one for next week and 2 that need completing today. For the first task, I need to set the scene for you. I've just received an email from Billy Bones and we've fixed an appointment for him to come into my office for an appointment next week. Billy is a prospective customer and I have created a basic contact record and added a tag prospect. I'll explain more about tags in a video specifically on that subject, but in short, we use tags to make groupings and searching for information a breeze. Here's Billy in my contacts list. Clicking on his name opens his record. As you can see, I have his email address and that's important so I can confirm the meeting to him and send him a reminder the day before we are due to meet. I'll go to the Task tab and click the Create button. I'll type in the word meeting so it's obvious what I'm doing, but you may decide in due course, when you're used to using Reminders, etc., that just using the type and relying on the icon that shows up is enough for your purposes. I'll show you the icon in a moment. I'll add a location so I can quickly see where the meeting will take place. Tapping the little calendar under the start time allows me to choose a date. Tapping that opens up the time options. First I select the hour and that opens up the minutes option. Tapping the required time automatically sets the start time. By default I have my meetings set to last 1 hour and this can be adjusted in settings so the end time defaults to 3:30 p.m. If you need to override the default, just follow the same process we used to set the start time. I also have Reminders, etc. set up to send 3 reminders of my tasks. By default, an email reminder of this meeting will be sent out 1 day before, 1 hour before and again 10 minutes before the start time. Any of these can be removed by simply clicking the red X, or they can be changed following the process we used earlier to set the start time. We'll cover all of these extra options later, but for now I just want Billy Bones to receive reminders of our meeting. I'll tag the task prospects. Remember to click one of the save buttons and now we can see the task in our list of future tasks. If you hover over the icons, you'll see an explanation of each. The bell shows the number of reminders set. The coffee cup indicates a meeting. The location tag shows the place of the meeting. And the person icon shows that there are individuals linked to the task, and the tag shows that it's been tagged. For my second task, let's say I have a deadline to finish writing this week's newsletter this afternoon. I'll set both an email and message reminder for myself 5 minutes before the start time, as I'm afraid I won't have finished this video by then and I want to be sure I don't miss the time. And finally, I need to return a call from a lady called Lucy Ace. I don't know who she is, but she asked me to call her at 4 p.m. Now we can see these 2 tasks listed for today. As you can see, they're colour coded blue to be consistent with the dashboard. now going to pause the video until just before 3:30 to show you what happens when the time for a task message reminder passes. I'm back, and as you can see at the top of the screen, I've received a message. You'll recall that when I created the newsletter task, I set it up to send a message reminder. Clicking the envelope takes me to the message area on the dashboard. A further few minutes have passed, and the time I set to complete my newsletter has now been reached. The task is now showing up in red as overdue. Returning to the task page, we can now see the overdue task here also showing up in red. Let's say I've now completed the newsletter. I check the box and the item instantly moves to completed tasks both here and also on the dashboard. But if I've made a mistake, I simply uncheck the item and it returns to the live tasks area. Finally, let me explain how the future tasks view works. By default, the nearest next task, apart from any due today, which show in the blue area above, will show in this area, and the relevant filter on the right is highlighted green. As you can see, the next task is my appointment with Billy next week. If I create a new task for tomorrow, you'll see that the default view changes from next week to this week. Or we can simply click on the Friday tab, which shows that same item. As I add more data in future videos, I'll refer back to this area, which will become more useful when there are more tasks to view. To learn more about the additional features available with tasks, look out for the video Tasks Part 2.